As most of you know by now, I'm a big StarFox fan, and I wanted to come up with a list for this series, but I had a little trouble trying to think of what really defines the games besides spaceflight combat and crying teammates. Looking through the series, the only thing I can make a list for were the planets, and wouldn't you know it, there's exactly 10 of them! Not counting the unofficial ones, the ones we've never been to, or Solar, cause that's really more of a sun and suns aren't planets. Why not include the space sections? Because we all know that Area 6 is the best level in StarFox history without question. I'm also going to be leaving out any details from Command because the levels were more or less the same and the stories were hard to keep up with, so I'll just skip them. Alright, let's start this list of my 10 personal favorite StarFox planets by default. Katina. Its first English appearance was in StarFox Assault, but we'll go over that later. Katina had you going through the Hoth-like planet, taking out defense towers, falling into a trap, escaping on Falco's R-Wing, and taking down a huge machine possessed by the Aparoids. Quite memorable on its own, really, but all the other planets just seem to have a little more to them. Yeah, I get it. Most of you guys hated this planet because you were rescuing Slippy, but how many times do I have to say it? It's my list, and I feel it deserves to be better than 10th place. Anyways, I like the fact that it felt like a little side story to the game, and for being one of the 2 levels in StarFox 64 to use the Landmaster tank. But if you play the Super Nintendo version, you know that this planet had a weather-changing climate machine, a boss that says bye-bye, and a catchy beat. And that's all it really takes to beat Katina. Oh man, would you listen to this music piece? Besides the use bombs wisely boss, I clearly remember this planet for its individual soundtrack. The environment is nothing more than an enemy base over polluted waters that's so depressing it makes Falco get along with Slippy. Zonus helps set itself apart from the others by having you take out the searchlights, and the first appearance of Cat with a K was apparently the only character in StarFox 64 with a double X chromosome.
Is that any way to greet a girl?
Hey, just pointing that out there. Besides playing in the only level that lets you use the underwater infinite torpedoes shooting Blue Marine, Aquas had underwater sculptures and you could get twin laser power-ups without worrying about wing damage. It's a godsend for expert mode! This level felt more like a kick back, relax, and blast everything in your way with little to worry about. Especially since this is one of the few levels in StarFox 64 where you never had to worry about your teammates. And it shows that Slippy is better at making vehicles—
You're the best, Slippy!
Thanks, Peppy!
than actually handling them.
Slippy's not such a screw-up after all.
Thanks a lot, Peppy.
I don't get this. Even though the Super Nintendo version sold more, many fans know Fortuna for being an ice planet with a Cornerian base and the first official appearance of Starwolf. In actuality, Fortuna was the first dinosaur planet. Okay, that info comes from the instruction manual, which we all know can sometimes be wrong, but still, it's there. You might be wondering, how did Fortuna go from this to this? Well, it's because, are you ready for this? This isn't really Fortuna. It's actually Katina. That's what it's called in the Japanese version, but due to a mistake in the translation, they kept it as Fortuna. Now it makes sense why these two are covered in ice and have a base, doesn't it? Well, at least they kept a similar look for it in StarFox Assault. Meh, more or less. Even if this is a StarFox planet because Rare was asked to make it one, you have to give it some credit. This planet has so much going for it that it's the only one to have an entire game made around it and was revisited in StarFox Assault. Few fans will know that this is the second dinosaur planet in the Lilat system, but most players will remember it for the first time they were introduced to Crystal. Look, every time I try to make a comment about this, it just somehow turns out dirty, so I'm gonna skip to
Corneria, 4th planet of the Lilat system.
the heart of the Lilat system, the most thriving planet, not to mention having a great cafe, is the planet most fans will think of when talking about StarFox. It's also usually associated with being invaded. General Pepper, when are you gonna start to beef up your defenses? Oh, that's right, you can't because all your money goes to me.
StarFox, we are in your debt.
Affirmative, General.
What?
Man, Macbeth is so sweet on both versions. On the Super Nintendo, you were flying through the inside of the planet, avoiding eruptions on the ground and on the ceiling with this really catchy tune. Then on the N64, you were driving the Landmaster tank, taking out an enemy train and sending the conductor into the enemy fuel bunker, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Make that 3. Macbeth is nothing but obstacles and explosions. Exactly what you want from StarFox. Katina. And that's all I'd have to say, but that would be robbing it of its glory. Assault had you check out a distress call while falling for a trap, while 64 had you taking down waves of enemies that sometimes darken the sky. With the level having a direct reference to the Independence Day movie, never having to save your teammates, and an Easter egg that is so hard to get most players don't even know about it, Katina is hard to top. Oh, you wanted to know how to get that Easter egg? If you blew up the mothership without shooting down any of Bill's men, you would get a different conversation at the end of the level. I have only done this twice in my whole life because even your charge shots can take them down when you're aiming for the enemy. It's hard, but hey, at least your teammates actually kick some butt on this level.
I got one!
Scratch 1 bogey. Enemy down! Wait, that was one of ours!
You idiot! Welcome to Venom, also known as Watch Out! Depending on how you approach it, Venom is never quite the same. On the Super Nintendo there were 3 versions of it, with one of them being on a highway of some sort, and other times watching out for incoming blocks and falling cubes. Then there's the N64 counterpart, where enemies come out from everywhere and blocks come out of thin air. Or the best encounter with Starwolf, who aren't messing around this time. Either way, Venom is what's going to test your skills as a pilot, and if you're not up to the test, you'll be squashed like a pest. And that wraps up this list. If your order is different, then leave a comment about your 10 favorite StarFox planets by default.
Only I have taken care to rule Lilac.
Huh? What?